The 2021 Michigan Wolverines men's hockey team is currently ranked number 7 in the latest college hockey poll as of January 31st. Michigan is boasting a 10-6 record on the season, 8-6 in the Big Ten Conference, which has them third in the Big Ten, behind only number 11 Wisconsin, who's 9-5 in conference, and number 2 Minnesota, who's 11-3 in the conference. This year's team is especially intriguing because they have quite a few players on the roster who were either drafted in the first or second round or are projected to go very high in the 2021 NHL entry draft. Now, Michigan is no stranger to having and recruiting many big-time NHL prospects. There are currently 18 players who are former Wolverines in the NHL today, more than any other college hockey program, including some very high-profile talents, including guys like Kyle Connor, Quinn Hughes, Dylan Larkin, Max Pacioretty, and Zach Werenski. This 2021 group of players is probably the best crop in terms of NHL talent that Michigan has had since the 2014-15 season, when they had Werenski, JT Compher, Andrew Kopp, Zach Hyman, Dylan Larkin, and Tyler Mott, all of which are currently playing prominent roles on their respective NHL teams today. The 2021 squad has 7 skaters that have either been drafted in the first or second round in the last 2 years, or will be drafted high in the upcoming 2021 draft this summer. And they also have a young goalie on the roster who is a third-round pick in 2019 by Buffalo. These players include Kent Johnson, Thomas Bordello, Maddie Beniers, Brendan Brasson, Owen Power, Cam York, Johnny Beecher, and goalie Eric Portillo. Owen Power is looking to become just the second player in NHL history to be drafted number 1 in the NHL draft after playing in the NCAA during his draft year, and the first since the year 2000, when Rick DiPietro was taken number 1 after his season at Boston University. Please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel if you enjoy this type of content and would like to see more. Let's start off with Kent Johnson. He's tied for the lead in scoring for Michigan this year with 6 goals, 12 assists, and 18 points in 16 games played. The 18-year-old freshman is from North Vancouver, British Columbia, in Canada, and stands in at 6'1", 165 pounds. Johnson is projected to go number 7 overall in the first round in this year's draft per TSN Bob McKenzie, and could go as high as number 4. This is a kid that racks up points and led the BCHL in scoring during the 1920 season and outscored the next guy by 30 points. Johnson put up 101 in just 52 games. He's just smooth as silk and has scored a few highlight reel goals this year with the Wolverines and quite a few in the BCHL last year. Owen Power. He has 2 goals and 10 assists for 12 points in 16 games played as an 18-year-old freshman. Power is from Mississauga, Ontario in Canada, and stands in at 6'5", 214 pounds. The young defenseman is the consensus number 1 overall pick in the upcoming draft per TSN and Bob McKenzie, and should go no lower than number 4. In 1920, he played for the Chicago Steel of the USHL and won Defenseman of the Year, also tallying the most points of any D-man in the league with 40 points in 45 games. He appears to have a great all-around game and lots of poise for a big young defenseman. Next up, we've got Maddie Beniers. He has 4 goals and 9 assists for 13 points in 14 games played this season. The 18-year-old freshman is from Hingham, Massachusetts in the U.S. Beniers stands in at 6'1", 174 pounds, and is the projected number 4 overall pick in this year's draft. Beniers played for Team USA in this year's World Junior Championship and helped the Americans win gold, and had 3 points in 7 games. He was actually supposed to play at Harvard this season, but when the Ivy League canceled their season, he ended up at Michigan. This kid is a great two-way centerman and is a product of the U.S. National Team Development Program. Now for the first player who was already drafted in the NHL, Thomas Bordello. He's got 5 goals, 13 assists for 18 points in 14 games this year. The 19-year-old freshman is from Houston, Texas in the U.S. and was drafted in 2020 in the second round, 38th overall by the San Jose Sharks. Bordello stands in at 5'9", 179 pounds. And he was actually supposed to play for Team USA in this year's World Juniors, but wasn't able to because of a last-minute COVID situation. He's another guy that played for the U.S. national team in 2019-20. Brendan Brasson, the son of NHL agent Pat Brasson, has 5 goals and 7 assists for 12 points in 14 games played this season. The 19-year-old freshman is from Manhattan Beach, California in the U.S. and was drafted in 2020 in the first round, 29th overall by the Vegas Golden Knights. He stands in at 6 foot, 185 pounds. Brasson scored 2 goals in 7 games for Team USA on the gold medal winning team at the World Juniors this year. And in addition, he was second in the USHL in scoring last season with 59 points in just 45 games for the Chicago Steel, and of course was teammates with his current teammate Owen Power. Next up is Cam York. He has 3 goals and 7 assists for 10 points in 14 games played this season. The 20-year-old sophomore is from Anaheim, California in the US and was drafted in 2019 in the first round, 14th overall, to the Philadelphia Flyers. The offensive defenseman stands in at 5'11", 174 pounds. York is yet another Wolverine who played a prominent role for Team USA at this year's World Juniors and contributed 6 points in 7 games en route to a gold medal as the team's captain. He played in Michigan in 1920 and put up 16 points in 30 games and is a strong puck-moving offensive D-man. Finally, we have Johnny Beecher. He has 4 goals and 3 assists for 7 points in 14 games this year. The 19-year-old sophomore is from Elmira, New York in the US and was drafted in 2019 in the first round, 30th overall by the Boston Bruins. He stands in at 6'3", 209 pounds. Beecher is another player that was supposed to play for Team USA at the World Juniors, but wasn't able to because of a last-minute COVID situation like Bordello. He played in Michigan in 1920 and tallied 16 points in 31 games as a freshman. He uses his size and puck skills to produce at a high level. So, as you can see, there are quite a few supremely talented hockey players in the Michigan program this year. Some would say this is one of the most stacked college hockey teams of all time in terms of NHL talent. And in a few years, we may look back at this team and marvel at what kind of players these kids become in the NHL. I'm excited to watch these guys play out the rest of the season at Michigan and see if they can use all that skill and talent to potentially go for a run at the national championship this year. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this stacked Wolverines team. Which player do you think will translate the best into the NHL game? Please remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching.